Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've not already guessed by the title, today I'm going to be talking all about head turning fragrances. So if you like the sound of that, then please do keep on watching. The first fragrance that I feel like is a complete head turner is none other than Rouge Smoking by BDK. Let me give you a close-up of the bottle. I absolutely love the juice colour. Now, I have only just recently added this one to my collection. However, I have gone through quite a few samples of this fragrance, and it is absolutely a head-turning fragrance because it leaves you wondering what that smell is. It does have a little bit of a cherry Pepsi vibe to it, in my opinion. It has a little bit of an amaretto vibe. You get that hint of smokiness coming through, hence the name Rouge Smoking. And I just think this is an absolutely incredible fragrance that is going to get you noticed. I did hold off from purchasing this one for quite some time because I do see some slight similarities between Rouge Smoking and Velvet Tonka, both by the same house. But the more I played around with my samples, the more I realized that they are actually different enough. And fun fact, my fiance absolutely loves Rouge Smoking, and he is the one that actually purchased this bottle because he enjoys wearing it himself. Now, I personally feel like Rouge Smoking is a unisex scent, but it definitely is a sweet, comforting, gourmand. It's got a little bit of cherry in there. It has almond, there's vanilla, there's tonka bean. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. It will get you the compliments. It will turn heads. If you love the smell of something like cherry Pepsi, root beer, or a cola ice cream float, I can't remember what the right name for that is, then I think you should absolutely try out Rouge Smoking. I think this is a very sexy fragrance too. Oh, couldn't get the lid off then. Yeah, it's a really delicious fragrance. There is a little bit of powderiness in here too. I believe there's heliotrope, which kind of adds to that gourmand touch. It's like an icing sugar's been sprinkled over a dessert. I'm getting a little bit of cherry, a little bit of almond. I'm definitely getting that vanilla or that vanilla husk kind of smell. Now, I wouldn't say this is an overly smoky fragrance. I'm trying to reference a fragrance that's really smoky, maybe Replicas by the Fireplace. You're not getting that vibe at all. It's a very subtle smoke, like a very subtle tobacco note in here in the dry down. The longevity is about 6 to 7 hours, which I personally don't mind, but it is the biggest complaint that I see about this fragrance. However, if you are someone that wants it to last a little bit longer, or you want a bigger scent bubble, you could absolutely overspray this one. But if you want a head-turning fragrance that's gourmand, it has a slight tobacco smoky touch, but then lots of sweetness from the cherry, almond, vanilla, and tonka, then absolutely check out Rouge Smoking by BDK because I think this is such an incredible fragrance. It's a little bit sexy and it's going to be all that gourmand goodness that you need to turn those heads. Next up, we have La Capitale by Xerjoff, and this one will absolutely turn those heads. This is a scent profile I absolutely adore. So let me give you a close up of the bottle. Now, I have a few different favorites in this type of scent family, but La Capitale for me is the one that I feel gets the most compliments and is the most head turning with this fruity caramelized note breakdown. La Capitale was definitely getting quite a bit of love. I think it was last year or maybe the year before, and for good reason. This one is incredibly sexy. It's a pretty unique scent profile. It's sweet, it's gourmand, but then it has an edge to it. And I think if you're looking for a head-turning fragrance, you absolutely need to try La Capitale by Xerjoff. It's a hidden gem by the brand, and it's going to leave you just smelling super sweet, super sexy. And the notes that are most prominent to me in La Capitale is strawberry, caramel, ginger, peach. There's vanilla in here, but there's also a leather note to give this a little bit of edge. It's not a super strong leather, but it is needed to cut through those really sweet, juicy, fruity notes like the strawberry and like the peach. And also bear in mind this has caramel in it, so I feel like it needs a little bit of balance. So you've got the ginger, you've also got the leather. This has got labdanum in it too. There's a little bit of amber, there's a little bit of saffron, and then you've got lots of vanilla in the base. You are going to smell delicious if you rock La Capitale, and you are absolutely going to turn heads. So if you've not tried this one, I really do urge you to do so, because La Capitale is just such a beautiful composition. Like I said, it's one of my favorite types of note profiles, and I have about 4 different fragrances that are in this same family, but this one is the one that seems to turn the most heads. The next head-turning fragrance is by Vilhelm, and it is Poets of Berlin. Let me give you a close-up. This is just the 10ml travel atomizer. I have 3 of these, although I should say had 3 of these, because this is the last one I have left. My fiance James was in London, and I asked him if he could go and pick me up a bottle of Poets of Berlin. They didn't have any in stock. They only had the 3 10ml travel atomizer, travel set, whatever it is called. So he picked me up that one instead. I will absolutely get a full-size bottle when I've run through my last 10ml travel atomizer. But anyway, now I've finished that little story time. Poets of Berlin is absolutely a head-turning fragrance. It's a very unique vanilla. Now, I wouldn't say it's a traditional vanilla fragrance at all. It's definitely got a lot of edge to it and a lot of oomph. And it definitely turns head because of that unique edge. So first of all, up top, you have notes of lemon and blueberry. And it is definitely giving a kind of slightly blueberry muffin, gourmand, cake, bakery vibe to it. But then that really gorgeous vanilla starts to cut through, and it's a sweet vanilla. And at this stage, it is definitely more of a gourmand fragrance. But where it starts to get interesting is in the dry down, the woody notes start to come through. There's a beautiful creamy but earthy orris note in here too. I do pick up a little bit of a smoky facet. I don't know where that is coming from, but I get a teeny bit of tobacco, which is absolutely not listed in the notes, but it is a really small nuance of it. This is mostly very much a sweet vanilla. You've got the lemon, you've got the blueberry, there's sandalwood. There's a bamboo note, and that is so gorgeous. It adds a green edge to it. And if I was to describe what type of vanilla this would be, I would definitely say it's a green vanilla with a fruity twist. It's absolutely incredible. Highly, highly, highly recommend checking out Poets of Berlin if you have not already. Plus, the 50ml and the 100ml bottles are absolutely exquisite. I love Vilhelm packaging. But yeah, if you like the sound of a slightly green sweet vanilla with fruity cake vibes to it, then Poets of Berlin will turn heads for you. The next fragrance I want to discuss is Cherry Punk by Room 1015, and I've spoken about this one a lot in my videos, so I will try not to stick on this one for too long. I will give you a close-up of the bottle here. And Cherry Punk is one of the only cherry fragrances that I absolutely adore. It is a gorgeous mix of a beautiful, rich, tart cherry note, but then you've got the leathery suede note in the dry down, which gives this an edge. And I feel like Cherry Punk is absolutely the correct name for this fragrance. This is a naughty cherry fragrance. It's a sexy cherry fragrance, and it will turn heads. I absolutely think this is unisex. It's got a gorgeous sweetness to it, but then, like I said, that leather definitely cuts through the tart cherry note. And fun fact, there's actually an extrait of Cherry Punk coming in the future. Can we just take a moment for that statement? Because I know so many of you already love Cherry Punk, and the fact there's an extrait coming, I know that a lot of you are going to jump on that. But this is absolutely a head-turning cherry fragrance. There are lots of reviews on this one on my channel if you do want to hear more, but Cherry Punk will get you the compliments and it will turn heads. Next up, we have a Bouquet Encore by L'Orchestra Parfum. And I'll give you a close up of the bottle. I can't remember if I've spoken about this one yet on my channel. I think I have. I speak about Rose Trombone quite a lot from the collection. However, I feel like Bouquet Encore is the one that definitely turns the most heads, especially if you're trying to attract the opposite sex. And I know we don't wear our perfumes for that, or most of us do not wear our perfumes for that, but it is nice to receive compliments from time to time. And I feel like men really enjoy fresh, sweet florals. And this is absolutely a fresh, sweet floral. And it is a tuberose dominant fragrance that I love. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you will know I'm not the biggest tuberose lover. However, I have kind of been trying to train my nose to enjoy the note a little bit more, and just to find out what kind of tuberose fragrances I do enjoy, and this one is definitely one of them. So this is mostly a jasmine and tuberose dominant fragrance. There is a little bit of pepper in the opening, and then there's lots of vanilla in the base. It's a very likable floral, a very sweet floral. I can actually smell this from here, and the cap's not even off the bottle. It's very potent. There must be a little bit of residue on the fragrance bottle somewhere. Yeah, this is a really gorgeous, feminine, elegant, but also a little bit sexy floral. It's sweet. There's lots of vanilla in here, teeny bit of musk. It smells like there's orange blossom in here too. I don't get much pepper. It's a teeny bit similar to one of my favorites, 100 Silent Ways by Nishane. But if you want to have an elegant, put together floral fragrance that's really sweet, it's potent, and it's gonna turn heads, then I would highly recommend checking out Bouquet Encore by L'Orchestra Perfume. They have some really great fragrances within their lineup. Rose Trombone I've spoken about quite a lot on my channel. They have Piano Santal, they have Ambracello, they have, I think it's called Electro Lemonade. That one is gorgeous. So yeah, highly recommend checking this one out if you are a sweet floral lover. Next up, we have Rose Omeyyade by Atelier de Souers. And if you are a rose oud lover, this is one of my absolute favorite rose ouds in my collection. I've only recently added this to my collection. I have had a few decants of this one and I've gone through them all. This is an absolute head-turning fragrance because it is a more traditional rose and oud based fragrance. Very sexy, very likable, but it has some other notes in there which give it a little bit of an edge to me. So there's a brown sugar note, and I absolutely love a note of brown sugar in fragrances. I feel like it just makes them a little bit more likable. It makes them sweet, a little bit edible, but not quite edible, because I wouldn't say this is an edible fragrance. And then it also has a really juicy note of raspberry, which is one of my favorite notes. Rose and raspberry together are just chef's kiss for me. Whenever I see rose and raspberry, I know I have to check out that fragrance. So when I saw rose, raspberry, brown sugar and oud, I was like, okay, I need to check out Rose Omeyyade. And fun fact, Atelier de Souers was actually the first luxury niche fragrance house that I ordered a discovery set from, and it was when I was first starting my Instagram page. I was really intrigued by the brand. It wasn't as accessible in the UK at the time, so I went ahead and ordered one of the discovery kits, and I fell in love with Rose Omeyyade then. Also Lune Feline, Rouge Smoking, quite a few, but I decided to buy Lune Feline as my first bottle. Very gorgeous smoky vanilla, but Rose Omeyyade always stuck in my head. So yeah, I've had a little bit of an affinity with Atelier de Souers since then. It's a house that I've always been super intrigued with. I feel like it embodies luxury. I love the packaging, but the fragrances have pretty much all been big hits for me. Anyway, back onto the scent. If you love a rose oud fragrance and you have not checked out Rose Omeyyade, I would highly recommend doing so, especially if you like additional notes of raspberry, brown sugar, you've got the vanilla, there's a little bit of gaiac wood in there too. And how could you not love the packaging of Atelier de Souers too? Absolutely exquisite, and it will actually make you feel really special when wearing it, because it's the whole experience that draws me into fragrance personally. It's not necessarily just the smell, it's everything about it. But anyway, Rose Omeyyade is absolutely a head turner. You can get this from Perfume Playground. They stock all of the Atelier de Source fragrances, and I will make sure to pop the correct links below in the description box. Next up, we have another Rose Oud fragrance, but it's going in a different direction this time. And this is by M.Micallef, and it is called Delice. And the bottle of this one is absolutely exquisite. So the cage on the outside is a metal cutout design. I think it's absolutely exquisite, really, really heavy. And I did drop this on the floor by accident, and I'm so glad that it was in this really strong casing, because I would have been so worried about it smashing, because I really did drop it badly. But yeah, anyway, this is absolutely a head-turning Rose Oud fragrance, but this time it goes in a little bit of a different direction. This is a very sexy Rose Oud. It's also got cinnamon, it's got nutmeg, and this one is perfect for date night. It's perfect for getting the attention. Yeah, this one is super, super sexy. Nutmeg is one of my favorite spices in fragrances. It really does just do something to a composition. It gives it a little bit of edge. It makes it a little bit sexy. It adds that mystery. And then you've got the cinnamon, as I mentioned. You've got the rose, you've got the oud. There's definitely a prominent plum note in here. It's a little bit powdery, and then there's lots of vanilla. And this goes in a different direction from the previous fragrance I spoke about, because this one isn't as sweet. It's more of a spicy rose oud with a little bit of tart and ripe plum in there. This is a very elegant fragrance in my opinion. I could see it being appropriate for a black tie occasion, for a date night. It's definitely more of a sexy evening wear or an autumn winter wear for me. I probably wouldn't wear this in spring summer high heat. It is a head turning fragrance. You will get noticed. People are going to wonder what you're wearing, and that is Delice by Micallef. And last but by no means least, we have Widian 2. And this is number 2, as I just mentioned. All the bottles kind of look the same, so you really do have to make sure you're ordering the correct number. And this fragrance is absolutely incredible. I am not sure if I've spoken about this one on my channel yet, but it is the most fluffy, musky vanilla with plum. I think there's a little bit of rose in here too. It's sweet, it's feminine. This one is very, very good, and it's why it is a head-turning fragrance. The most prominent notes for me are the plum, and I have a bit of a thing for plum in fragrances. It's definitely, like I mentioned, a musky vanilla, but the sweetness that comes from the plum, there's a little bit of sandalwood, I think there's a little bit of mandarin in here too, and then just a slight floral hit from the rose. But in essence, it's a soft, fluffy, powdery vanilla and plum, teeny bit of rose, really sexy, really feminine. It's absolutely going to turn heads. I feel like this could be worn for all occasions, and I do feel like I need to do a full review of this one, because I'm pretty sure I haven't yet, and Widian do some of the most incredible fragrances. So if you do want to see a full review of this one, please do let me know. But it is stunning and will turn heads when you wear this one. So that was all of the fragrances that I wanted to discuss today. I feel like I could have added so many more in this list, but please do let me know down in the comments if any of these stood out to you. Have you tried them? Do you want to try them? I would love to hear your thoughts. But as always, I would love to know what your opinion is. What are the fragrances that turn heads the most for you? Because best believe I'm going to go out of my way and research them. I love your recommendations, so please do keep them coming.